Hi guys, it's Crystal with Design Bundles. Today I'm going to show you guys a very beginner-friendly project using your Silhouette Cameo 4. Now I'm using the Plus model, but it's going to be all the way across the board for the 4 models. Now we're also going to be using the basic edition for Silhouette because one thing that I recommend is not going out and purchasing the other programs unless you know that you really need them. Start off with that basic, and one thing that I want to show you guys is, yes, with the basic edition you can't bring in SVGs, but you can bring in DXF files, which is basically the same as an SVG, which we have. I'm going to go over here in just a second. So we're going to go ahead and create this project here. I highly recommend that when it comes to your very first project, beginner projects, stick with something that is not very intricate, does not have a lot of stuff to weed out, and it's a single layer design. You want to stick with something like this that is just one color, one single layer. As you guys can see, there's not a whole lot of stuff to weed out. It's not very teensy tiny and intricate. I would do something that's very big, very bold for your first project. So we're going to go ahead and recreate this bag right here. Now I've already done this one with Electric. For this side of the tote bag, we're going to do that exact same design, but this time we're going to use glow in the dark. Since this is like a Halloween theme bag, I thought it would be awesome to show you guys the glow in the dark heat transfer vinyl. So this is from Caesar. This is their glow in the dark here. And what's really cool is it looks white at first, and then whenever it is in the dark, it's going to glow, obviously. So what's really cool about playing around with something like this, as well as the Electric, they cut pretty much on the same settings as a basic heat transfer vinyl. So say, for example, Caesar Easy Weed or Cricut Iron-On, the everyday Iron-On, it's going to be the same cut settings, but it's going to give you that extra feel good that you made some really cool project, right? So I thought it would be cool to go ahead and play around with the glow in the dark because it's going to be the same setting. So I recommend for your beginner projects that you guys stick with a very simple heat transfer vinyl. I wouldn't be playing around with flock, glitter, or the metallics that are really thick or anything like that until you guys have really played around with some of the basic stuff and figured out those cut settings. So let's go ahead and head on over, check out our design, go ahead and go into the software. I'm going to show you guys how to use the basic edition to bring in that DXF file, and then let's go ahead and cut it out. Over here on designbundles.net, this is the file that I'm using today, and as you can see, it is a DXF file. It is only 1 credit if you guys are a Plus member. All you simply have to do is go over here to the download. Now it says again for me because I've already downloaded it once. So you're just simply going to come right over here, hit the download button, and then it's going to jump right up here at the top, as you can see here. So you're just simply going to go over to your Silhouette Studio. The very first thing, let's go ahead and set up our page layout. I'm going to go ahead and choose my machine. I'm going to tell it that I'm actually using no mat today. And then I'm going to tell it that my material is 12 by 12. So I'm going to go ahead and set this stuff right away. So that's the first thing that would be good to do each time. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the show print border. That probably is not on for you, but I use print and cut last. All right, so now all you simply have to do is go up here to the file folder. You're going to click on it and then simply search for your file. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in trick, and then it will pull up. Now we are looking for that DXF file, and then we're going to go ahead and hit OK. Now a DXF file is going to come in individual pieces. So instead of it being the whole full word or the entire quote, it's going to be individual pieces. Now, you don't have to attach it. If you want to, you can simply just go ahead and select everything and then hit the attach button. So I'm going to go ahead and just right over on the outside on the mat here, we're just going to grab the mouse and slide over everything. And then you would just come right up here at the top and click this right here, and it's going to attach everything for you. And as you can see now, it's one solid piece. Now, I'm not going to do this because you definitely don't have to do this with a Silhouette. Everything's going to stay in place where you set it on this mat. I'm going to go ahead and size it out here, and then I'm going to go to Object, Mirror, and then we're going to flip this horizontal. So you can flip this horizontal, vertical, and all of those things. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab it and slide it right back over here. All right, so now that we have this flipped, you could definitely mirror it over here once you get to the send page, but I like to do mine right here. So let's go ahead and hit send, and the very first thing you want to do is change your settings. So I'm going to come right here, and you can simply type in heat and then choose heat transfer smooth. It's got the auto blade, and then we are ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and hit the send button. From here, it's going to ask you if it wants to mirror it, but we've already done that. And so I'm going to go ahead and choose send as is. All right, so now that we have everything designed out, everything's ready to go, we're ready to load our material. So the way to tell that your heat transfer vinyl is the front or the back, the front is glossy, as you guys can see. This is the carrier sheet, and then the back should be more matte. So what you want to do is put that gloss side down, and we're going to go ahead and load it in the machine. What's really cool about the Silhouette is you don't have to have a mat for this. You're just simply going to load it in. So what you want to do, this little gray line that's right here with these two arrows, you want to get it right up next to that line. So right on top of it, right next to it, and then we're going to go ahead and make sure that our material is right underneath both wheels. If you need to adjust it, you're going to go ahead and drop this handle down, and then we're going to go ahead and move this. So see this little wheel piece here? I can go ahead and move this over. These little grooves, if it's not on a groove, it's going to be able to move around. You need it to stop on a groove. So I'm going to go ahead and get this until I am happy with it. I need it to be under this wheel. So I think this is going to be perfect. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to go ahead and drop it down. Now to load our material, I'm just going to hold it right in front of the bar here and then hit the arrow up. So it's going to go ahead and pull our material in. Now I always recommend to go ahead and do the next step. I like to bring mine in just to be safe a little bit further. There's these arrows here. I'm going to hit the arrow down, and I'm just going to bring it in a little bit more. All right, so I'm happy with that. I think that looks great. Everything is perfect. So now we're ready to go ahead and cut it out. Now, something I want to point out, if you guys are struggling and you're noticing that your machine is not connecting to your software, make sure that your Bluetooth is blue. If it's white, then your Bluetooth is turned off. You're just simply going to tap it until it turns blue. So let's go ahead and send it to the machine. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do is hit send. It's going to ask you at this point if you want to send as is or send mirrored. We've already flipped it inside of the design software. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit send as is. So now the machine, the blade is going to go ahead. It's auto, so it's changing to those cut settings that I want it to be. So now it's going to go ahead and cut it out. Now the one thing about a Silhouette is it is a little bit louder than others. So if you hear this noise, it sounds a little crunchy and grinding, completely normal. Now, one thing that I do recommend while this is cutting out, and actually before it even cuts out, make sure that you have your heat press turned on. So I've got my heat press set at 305 for 12 seconds. If you were using the Cricut Easy Press, you would want to have it set around 320 for 30 seconds. Now I am using a swing away today, so mine's going to go in just like this, and then you would want to already have adjusted your pressure before you got started as well. So you want, a heat press takes a little bit of time to heat up, so you want to make sure that that is, you know, already warmed up and ready to go. All right, so we have finished cutting everything out. Now, the really cool thing about this Silhouette Cameo 4 is you can actually feed this back through with your arrows, and then in the back here, there is a paper trimmer built inside, so you could actually trim it off. Now, I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and hit the down arrow and just unload it. So here is our cut design like so. I'm going to go ahead and cut off any remaining pieces so we can save it for later. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and simply take my scissors here, and I'm going to cut off any remaining so I can save it for a later project. So we'll go ahead and get that out of our way. Now I'm just going to use a little collapsible trash can here to get all of my pieces. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and get a corner started, just like so, and then go ahead and weed this. Now if it feels a little tight to weed, something that I recommend is going over to your heat press, drop it down for just a second, and then you can simply open this up, lay this on the platen. It's going to warm that up, and you're going to notice a big difference. Projects that I would avoid for your first projects, I would avoid wine glasses because of the curved surfaces. You don't want to get into something that is actually going to deter you, because if you start to struggle on your first few projects, you're going to give up because you're going to think it's too hard. So layering, for example, it's really good to just go with these single designs at first, and then you can add in layers. So start small. conquer that stuff and then continue to add in. I highly recommend either doing an HTV, so like a t-shirt, you know, a tote bag like this, something like that. Maybe something small, personalizing with somebody's name. And then, you know, maybe even doing an adhesive vinyl. So maybe you want to do something like, you know, maybe you want to do like a sign, or maybe add your name to a tumbler or something like that. So those are beginner projects, but like I said, I definitely would stick with those single layers. You know, I think a big mistake that a lot of people make too when it comes to the Silhouette software is jumping in right away and spending hundreds of dollars right away into the, you know, the added ones that are more, you know, do all the extra things, and you may not need that. Play around with the basic one first, use those DXF files, and then see if that's something that you need to do. All right, so I think I've got everything weeded out here, so it looks good. But what I love about this glow in the dark is it looks white and then it's gonna glow, so it's really cool. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and set this out of the way. The very first thing you wanna do is go ahead and lint roll to remove any sort of lint, and then you want to pre-press. Now, this is a tote bag and we do have seams, so for something like this, you definitely want to invest into a pressing pillow, which looks something like this. So all you're simply gonna do is insert it inside, and then you're just going to go ahead and get it over everything so the seams are underneath. So as you can see here, it's super smooth. So everything is back here and we've got it nice and smooth. So whenever we go to press this, all of these seams are going to sink down into this pressing pillow. So then we'll know our heat transfer vinyl is going to be sunk down into the fabric. All right, so let's go ahead and pre-press. Now I've already got my heat press set at 305 for 12 seconds. If you were using the Cricut Easy Press, you'd want to do 320 for around 30 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and load it in just like so. And then we're just going to pre-press it. You could press it for around just 5 seconds, you know, 5 to 10 seconds just to get that pre-press. This is going to pull out any moisture as well as smooth out any wrinkles. All right. So let's go ahead and come back over here. Now, in order to find the center of your design, you can simply fold it in half. This is the, you know, not the sticky side. We're going to fold it in half, and then we're going to get a crease. You don't have to go all the way down, just the top there to figure out that center. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to center this up between these two pieces here where the handles are. So once I'm happy with it, I think this looks good. So here is our design, right? We're ready to go. We're going to go ahead and press it now. I'm going to go ahead and load it in here, just like so. Shut it, and we're going to press it. Like I said, 305 for around 12 seconds. If you were using the Cricut Easy Press, make sure you guys give it some medium pressure to make sure it gets down in there. All right, so let's go ahead and pop this open and bring it back over here. Now, make sure that you guys read the instructions when it comes to your heat transfer vinyl. Some are hot pill, cold pill, warm pill, to see what it is. Most of them are warm pill, but whenever it comes to, say, for example, like a metallic or an electric, it may be cold. So make sure that you do that. If you notice that when you go to peel it, it's peeling back up with you, it doesn't mean that it needs to be pressed again. It just means you need to let it cool down. If you have a granite countertop, you can flip it upside down just like this, and your granite will absorb that heat. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over because this is a warm peel. We're going to peel it right up. And there you have it. So we're going to go ahead and remove our pressing pillow. And there you have it. How super cute is this? So we have two sides of our bag here, and one is glow in the dark, one is electric. So as you guys can see, there wasn't a lot of intricate. When you pick your design, make sure it doesn't have a lot of small intricate pieces. Something nice, big, bold, easy. And I promise you're going to fall in love after that, and you'll have it down. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one.